The following is a video log recorded by D-1589 documenting an encounter with an SCP. D-1589 began his association with the Foundation as a standard D-Class personnel. During an encounter with SCP, D-1589 was slain. It did not take. D-1589's wounds regenerated and he experienced anomalous hair growth on 99% of his body. This was accompanied by greatly enhanced strength, endurance, speed, toughness, and regeneration. Due to his limited cognitive abilities, he scored at the bottom 10% on the Stanford Binet Intelligence Scale, and the benefits of having a nearly immortal D-Class to participate in experiments, it was decided D-1589 would retain his D-Class designation in order to learn new information about various SCPs. This week, D-1589 was exposed to an instance of SCP-5172. SCP-5172 is a Keter-class phenomenon that affects guests at North American hotels. Affected individuals will perceive a machine that serves the sole function of dispensing ice. These ice machines, while otherwise not anomalous, are typically located in the hallway of the guest floor in close proximity to an elevator lobby or a storage closet. Ice machines are not common amenities in North American hotels. In fact, they do not appear in any contemporary hotels outside of those affected by SCP-5172. Nonetheless, a false memory of having perceived an ice machine is estimated to affect roughly 80% of the North American population. Individuals who perceive and then use these ice machines will initiate a Zalmunna event. This is likely to cause an instance of SCP-5172-1 to materialize, and it is very likely to result in the individual's injury or death. Hence, it has been given the risk class of critical.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Seriously, I just get back and I gotta go out on assignment again? I need a bit of rest, but Dr. Newbie literally came in here and begged on his knees saying, and I quote, "Oh Biff, only you is smart enough to do this and save the world." Well, who's gonna say no to that? He had tears in his eyes.
I don't know where he's getting this. Perhaps D-1589 is confused with his begging for access to SCP-1004 again.
At least I get to wear my civilian duds. I look quite striking in plaid. So where am I going, Belize? The French Riviera? I've always wanted to visit a new beach. Plus, going to the home of the French fries, French bread, and French toast would be like a pilgrimage for me. Just like that time I went to Rockport, Maine, birthplace of the donut. It was so spiritual. I had an out-of-body experience.
You had a heart attack and died. D-1589 was sent to motel located in Gary, Indiana. Upon his return, he recorded this log.
Seriously? Well, I guess I can check going to the smog capital of the world off my bucket list. Let's just say it wasn't the nicest motel too. The mattress smelled like pee, which I usually like, but whoever did this must have loved their cabbage. I would call it a dump, but that'd be an insult to the fine institution that are dumps everywhere. I guess I shouldn't really complain. It wasn't all bad. I even saw a patch of blue sky through the clouds on the second day. Or so I thought, until I realized it was just a dead bluebird falling.
Stop exaggerating, D-1589, and please get to the encounter.
Exaggerating? I caught a cold there. Me. You all injected me with super Ebola last month. Not even a sniffle. 2 nights in Gary, now I'm sneezing so loud an old sailor wanted to hire me as a foghorn. Not that fog wouldn't be a godsend in that town. Why, the first night alone, I was afraid to touch any...
On the first night, D-1589 forgot he was instructed to use the ice machine. On the second, he collected ice from SCP-5172 and triggered a Zalmunna event. The Zalmunna event is triggered when a hotel guest perceives and subsequently uses a hotel ice machine. At this point, the only way to terminate the event is to leave the building and sleep in a private residence. The ice does not actually need to be used or consumed for the event to progress. The target will almost immediately begin to perceive an individual or individuals watching them from elsewhere in the hotel. Typically, these individuals first appear on the far end of the hallway where the Zalmunna event was initiated. Third-party observers are unable to perceive any individuals observing the target. Attempts to seize, record, or photograph the individuals supposedly watching the target have not produced evidence of their existence. Accordingly, the watchers are believed to be hallucinations. Descriptions of the individuals are fragmentary and do not show any consistent traits.
So I go to get some ice, which, believe it or not, is actually less crunchy than the water. Cool. I'm going back to my room when I see this dude at the other end of the hallway. He's hard to see, but he's like pretty tall and he's wearing green, and I figure, I'm the only one dumb enough to be staying in this hellhole. He must be a worker. So I ask if I can get a room without a mattress that reeks of bodily fluids, and he totally ignores me. Well, that's not happening. I chase this loser down the hall, but he vanishes quicker than crack on a Gary street corner.
Within 2 hours of event initialization, the target will display symptoms similar to those seen in early stage dementia. If the target does not immediately return to their hotel room, they begin to demonstrate signs of confusion, difficulty completing everyday tasks, and short-term memory loss. After 2 hours have elapsed, the target also begins to feel a gradual increasing sense of fatigue. D-1589 showed greater than average signs of dementia.
So I go back to my room and start watching Fox News, and you know what? I've been wrong this whole time. They totally are fair and balanced. Not only that, but the My Pillow guy, freaking genius. He inspires me, so I get my own brilliant idea. I should really pick up a timeshare property or two. They are a great investment. And also, now that I think about it, it is a real shame Kirk Cameron never won an Oscar.
Within 4 hours of event initialization, the fatigue typically reaches the point where it becomes difficult or dangerous for the target to perform activities such as driving or swimming. Zalmunna event survivors report feeling as if their mind is too active to fall asleep anywhere other than in a hotel bed. This typically leads the target to seeking out their hotel room. In spite of this sensation, the target is not compelled to follow this course of action. The target may still seek out a bed located in a private residence if they are aware it is an option. Targets will not fall asleep outdoors or in public places, but will experience the standard health consequences associated with increasing sleep deprivation. Targets can only fall asleep in hotels or private residences. If they do fall asleep in a private residence, the event is terminated.
So I start getting real tired, but then again, drinking 4 cases of PBR can do that to a fellow. Time for nighty-night. I go to bed, and the next thing I know, some ugly little Gene Simmons wannabe is sitting on top of me. I'm about to throw him off, but it looks like he has some beef jerky, so I ask for some. But the jerk just hisses at me.
SCP-5172-1 is an individual instance of a humanoid entity approximately 122 centimeters or 48 inches in height and 28.6 kilograms, 63 pounds, in weight. Its arms are about twice the length of what would normally be expected of a human of these dimensions. It also has pronounced frontal and parietal bones, creating the appearance of an elongated forehead. The proboscis-like appendage measures approximately 90 centimeters, 35.4 inches, and extends and retracts from the mouth of the instance's face. An instance of SCP-5172-1 appears after the target enters slow-wave sleep. SCP-5172-1 is not perceptible to a person who is in the room with the target at the time of this entry, but can be observed through cameras and other devices. The target returns to the hypnagogic state, but is unable to move. This results in a condition resembling sleep paralysis. SCP-5172-1 crawls towards the bed on all fours before assuming a sitting position on the target's chest. SCP-5172-1 inserts a thin proboscis-like appendage into one or both of the target's eye sockets for several seconds. Targets will continue to display signs of consciousness for longer than should be possible, even in the case of a completed Zalmunna event. Should a harvesting process be interrupted after the target loses a vital organ, the target will live for 1 to 2 hours. Though it was previously theorized the proboscis was a way for SCP-5172-1 to transmit a paralytic agent or other substance to the target's brain to aid in the harvesting process, repeated observation shows the target already demonstrates symptoms of paralysis by the time an SCP-5172-1 instance materializes. Efforts are underway to explore the theory that the appendage is introduced in order to ensure the target remains conscious throughout the process. After retracting the appendage, SCP-5172-1 opens its own chest cavity and retrieves a pair of unidentified tools. It then begins applying the tools to extract cubes measuring approximately 4 cm by 4 cm by 4 cm, 1.57 inches, from the target's body. The cubes may consist of tissue, muscle, bone, semi-solid blood, or a combination thereof. SCP-5172-1 uses the tools in a cutting and scooping motion, which appears to make all of these organic substances equally easy for it to collect. That is, bone is no more difficult to cut through than any other organic matter of the target. Each cube is placed in SCP-5172-1's open chest cavity before it repeats the process and collects another cube. The chest cavity is capable of containing more matter than its appearance would suggest.
Freak starts licking my eyeballs. Normally I'm down for a good eyeball licking, but buy me dinner first. I throw him off, and this beef jerky is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's like a tiny cube, but it smells good, so why not? I pop one into my mouth and not bad. Really undercooked, but not bad. That's when I notice he's got this whole bunch more in like his chest or something. Who does he think he is, Bender? If anyone around here is Bender, it's me. I'm the cool one like Bender. I drink as much as him. I'm Bender, not him. You know what, though? This jerk licked my eyeballs without even asking, so I'm gonna eat all his chest jerky. That'll show him. He tries to get away, but I just hold the nerd down and eat every last piece. Hopefully he learned his lesson. Then, with that taken care of, back to bed, baby. I'm a mess if I don't get my 18 hours.
Once D-1589 released SCP-5172-1, it started to flee until D-1589 went back to bed and promptly fell asleep. After careful prodding for approximately 2 minutes, it began the process again. This time D-1589 did not awaken. The process continued for 4 hours and 33 minutes, by which time SCP-5172-1 was removing 88 cubes per minute, but D-1589 was regenerating quickly enough to prevent SCP-5172-1 from making any progress. At this time, SCP-5172-1 returned to the hallway door and phased into it. The next night, D-1589 awoke showing no adverse effects. And in case you are wondering, we are not going to release the video of D-1589 consuming over 2 kilograms of himself. I still have nightmares.
What a waste of a vacation. Look, I'm sure Gary is a lovely town and there's lots of cool things to do. I've heard the Rust Museum is quite nice, and they even have a war memorial to Kaiser Wilhelm. Plus, Kathy Griffin was in town, and we all know she's just awful, but kind of famous, I guess. It was cool that they delivered jerky to the room, but the method left a lot to be desired. I wonder what kind of jerky it was anyway. The spices were perfect, but it was just so full of fat.
That wasn't beef jerky. Those cubes were cut out of your own stomach, D-1589.
No. Really? I ate beef jerky? My God. I can't believe it. I'm actually quite tasty.
Foundation personnel whose duties require them to stay in hotels are required to familiarize themselves with documentation surrounding SCP-5172. A log of confirmed SCP-5172 manifestations will be made available to personnel whose duties require regular hotel stays. All personnel staying in hotels will be given single-purpose communication devices for reporting suspected SCP-5172 phenomena. Awareness of SCP-5172 is not enough to avoid triggering a Zalmunna event. Several Foundation personnel, as hotel guests, have found themselves absent-mindedly using an ice machine despite being fully aware of the consequences. Personnel who have triggered a Zalmunna event must report it to command immediately in order to receive instructions for extraction. Personnel are not permitted to return to their hotel rooms without express approval from command. If feasible, personnel will be given directions to a nearby Foundation safe house where they can fall asleep in a way that terminates the Zalmunna event. As a final precaution, all personnel staying in hotels are required to wear heart rate monitors at all times while on the hotel premises. As of 2021, one confirmed instance of SCP-5172 has been located in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Foundation personnel have recovered an ice machine and human remains indicative of a completed Zalmunna event. This is the first known instance of SCP-5172 to occur outside North America. Notably, the Netherlands had no prior public perception of ice machines as a common hotel amenity. At present, it is unclear if this is an isolated incident or if it signals that the anomaly is in the process of spreading to other locations. All available Site-30 resources are being shifted into investigating the possible reasons for SCP-5172 spread. Countering or mitigating the spread is now considered highest priority for 5172 research team personnel.
And remember, kids, you are what you eat. Literally, in my case.
Thank you for your attention. If you have any comments or questions about the events of this encounter, please leave them below. Conversely, if you have an SCP experiment you would like to see D-1589 participate in, that can also be left below. Do not forget to employ the SCP Foundation's new like-dislike function on this log. And if you have not done so already, please consider subscribing to this content for easy access.